My son-in-law wiped his shoes on my daughter and called her a crazy servant. The night I realized silence can be louder than screams was the night my son-in-law wiped his muddy shoes on my daughter's dress and laughed. This story is a work of fiction. Names, characters, and events are purely imaginary. Any resemblance to real persons or incidents is purely coincidental. My name is Daniel, and I used to believe that love, if patient enough, could fix anything. I was wrong. It happened during a family gathering at their house, marble floors, glass walls, the kind of place that echoed wealth before you even spoke. I remember standing near the doorway, holding a small gift I'd brought for my daughter, Anna. She had always loved simple things: a book, a scarf, a reminder that someone still saw her. Her husband, Victor, came in late, rain-soaked and angry. He didn't greet anyone. He didn't even remove his shoes. He tracked mud across the white floor like he owned the mess as much as the house. "Anna," he snapped. She rushed toward him, nervous, apologetic, wiping her hands on her apron as if she'd done something wrong just by existing. She reached for his coat. That's when he lifted his foot. He pressed the sole of his shoe against the front of her dress and dragged it down slowly, deliberately, leaving a dark smear across the pale fabric. The room went still. "There," he said, smirking. "That's what servants are for, cleaning filth." Anna froze. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for someone, anyone, to say something. No one did, not his friends, not the guests, not even her own mother, who stared at the floor as if it might swallow her. Victor laughed again. "Don't look so shocked. She's always been crazy anyway, acts like she deserves respect." Something inside me cracked. I stepped forward, but Anna shook her head almost imperceptibly. "Please don't," her eyes begged. "Please don't make it worse." So I didn't, and that is a shame I will carry forever. Later that night, I found Anna alone in the kitchen, scrubbing the same spot on her dress over and over. Her hands were red raw. "You don't have to do that," I said gently. She smiled, a small broken thing. "It'll come out, Dad. Everything does eventually." "No," I said, "not everything." She looked at me then, really looked, and for a moment her mask slipped. I saw the fear, the exhaustion, the loneliness. "I'm fine," she whispered, like a prayer she'd repeated too many times. But she wasn't fine, and I knew it. Over the next weeks, I watched more closely. Victor's insults disguised as jokes, his control masked as concern, how Anna flinched when he raised his voice, how she apologized for things that weren't her fault, how she stopped calling me as often. One evening, she showed up at my door unannounced, wearing long sleeves in the middle of summer. "Can I stay for tea?" she asked. I noticed the bruises, faint, yellowing, but unmistakable. That was the moment love stopped being patient. I told her she could stay as long as she wanted. I told her she wasn't crazy. I told her none of this was her fault. She cried into my shoulder like she had when she was a child afraid of thunderstorms. Victor came the next day, furious. He demanded I send her back. He said she was unstable, ungrateful, a burden. I looked him in the eye and felt something calm settle over me. "You wiped your shoes on my daughter," I said. "You will never step on her again." He laughed. "You're an old man, Daniel. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to tell the truth," I replied. And I did. I spoke to a lawyer. I documented everything, the bruises, the messages, the witnesses who had laughed that night but now suddenly remembered details they'd rather forget. I helped Anna file for divorce. I stood beside her in court while Victor's smile slowly faded into panic. He lost more than his wife. His reputation collapsed. His business partners distanced themselves. Friends stopped answering his calls. The man who once thought he could humiliate others without consequence learned what it felt like to be alone. Anna moved into a small apartment near the park. She started therapy. She started painting again. Sometimes she still flinches at loud noises. Sometimes she still apologizes when she doesn't need to. But she laughs now, real laughter, the kind that fills a room. Last week she wore that same dress, the one Victor ruined, after altering it into something new, something stronger. She caught me staring. "What?" she asked, smiling. "Nothing," I said, "just proud. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: monsters thrive in silence. And love, real love, doesn't ask you to endure cruelty to prove your worth." My name is Daniel. I stayed quiet once. "Never again."